Hello everyone, this is Ivan Magana speaking from BNN News Network with some news on the presidential election. Abraham Lincoln won decisively, competing against John C. Breckinridge, John Bell, and Stephen A. Douglas. With more on this news, let's head off to Nicholas Zeiger.
Thank you, Ivan. As you can see on this electoral map, Lincoln decidedly won the northern and western states, while Bell of the Constitutional Union won a majority of the border states, West Virginia, Virginia, Kentucky, and Tennessee. Now, what's interesting is the Democratic Party had a split candidacy here, with the Northern Democrats taking the outer border states, Missouri, and part of New Jersey, and the Southern Democratic Party took a majority of the South. Now, it's clear looking at this electoral map that this country faces a severe sectional divide between parties, and it will be interesting to see how Lincoln handles this issue.
Thank you, Nick. With the election of Abraham Lincoln, there have been signs of concern throughout the nation. The election, in fact, has led to the secession of 11 states: South Carolina, North Carolina, Mississippi, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, Texas, Virginia, Arkansas, and Tennessee have all seceded. Before these states seceded, there had been attempts to keep the nation together. According to the New York Times, the Democrats of the South accepted a compromise known as the Crittenden Compromise, which proposed several amendments to be added to the Constitution, including allowing all territory below the 3630 parallel to be slave-holding territories. Though many Democrats had accepted, President Lincoln declined it, stating that it goes against his Republican beliefs. In response, the states in the South seceded. With other news, Fort Sumter has also been attacked after Confederate had opened fire on the fort, which was low on supplies at the time of the attack. Upon receiving words of the attack, Lincoln had taken upon himself to prepare the Union for war against the Confederacy. Anything to add, Nick?
Not starting that. Yes, thank you, Ivan. You see, Lincoln had intended to hold Fort Sumter as an attempt to hold the Union together. However, the Confederacy in South Carolina attacked the fort in an effort to show that they mean business and will not stand down as Union forces occupy the land that they claim theirs. Even though nobody was killed as a direct result of the battle, it's still very clear that peaceful resolutions cannot be reached at this point in time. In fact, as a result of the conflict, Lincoln has begun mobilizing troops in the north, and within 3 months, 4 more states had seceded from the Union. It is unclear how this will play out, but from what I understand, Yannick has been able to secure an interview with Mr. Lincoln himself.
Thank you, Nick. We have just caught up with President Abraham Lincoln. Mr. President, congratulations on your victory in becoming the President of the United States of America.
Thank you, Yannick.
I'd like to ask you a few questions, Mr. President. First, in your opinion, how difficult was this year's presidential election?
Well, like any election, Yannick, this one has been long and difficult. Just a few years back, I had been a man that only served 1 2-year term in Congress. Right now, I am still only a man that has served 1 2-year term in Congress. I knew coming into this election that I was not going to win much support from the voters in the South. As I said 2 years ago in a Senate debate with Stephen A. Douglas, this government cannot endure permanently half slave and half free. The Republican Party had to look at the economic interests of the Northerners and Westerners. I promised a protective tariff for industry and exclusion of slavery. While I did come out victorious, I know I have support from only half of the country, and I must fix that. The election is over, but there is still a lot to be done.
Very interesting points, Mr. President. Going with the idea of the nation being divided, what do you think is the main reason why the United States has such a great sectional difference? What steps of action can we as a people take to heal the divide with you as President?
The Republican Party has an economic program in mind, one that favors the interest of northern industrialists but at the expense of the South. The Republican Party is promising protective tariffs which help northern business, but the South dependence on cotton was hurt. Cotton, as you know, is the center of their economy. They fear that our ideas will destroy their economy and threaten their constitutional rights, which is, as we all know, to hold slaves, apparently. Something that many people in the North believe is wrong.
Now, Fort Sumter, it's under federal control, and you do not want to lose the fort to the Confederacy. You decide to send supplies to the fort. The South decides to attack the fort, and it's a battle. Why do you react the way you did, and why did you begin mobilizing troops? any concern that you had?
Well, it is clear that the South is unhappy. They want to be a separate country, but I am the President of the United States. Whether they think they are united or not, we are the United States of America. I plan to use my powers as both the Chief Executive and the Commander-in-Chief. I plan to do the right to the people, for their own safety. Mobilizing troops was a must. Well, it is definitely clear that the South is unhappy. They want to be a separate country, but I am the President of the United States. Whether they think they are united or not, we are a United States of America. I plan to use my powers as both Chief Executive and Commander-in-Chief. I plan to do the right to the people, for their safety. Mobilizing troops was a must, as even though we are a nation, we must still protect our people. All in all, the safety of the citizens of the United States come first, so that is why I did what I did.
Mr. President, I know you will have an extremely stressful time in office. I hope all goes well.
Thank you, Mr. Janek.
Back to you in the studio.
Thank you. If you've been wondering about the change in scenery, we've had budget cuts. The economy is not that well right now. We also have news from the latest play at Ford Theater. John Wilkes Booth had another extravagant performance, earning praise from even the toughest of critics. It's a 5-star performance indeed, worthy of the President's audience himself. And that's what we leave you with. Stay tuned for the next airing at 10 p.m. Central Time. Goodbye.